Arknight Enfield gonna have one of the most intimidating feature ever, and it's no other things than the factory mode. Unlike other game, like Dark Souls has the most intimidating combat system, and definitely not how Gilberta stare at the Leviathan. As a player who never played the CBT, I hate it for the first hour, but love it for every minute after that. I made a lot of mistakes here and there while I'm trying to test the factory out, and I think the biggest factor that lead to these mistakes is simply because there are just too many kinds of variation and you don't even know how to get started with. I'm gonna teach you how to build the factory at the bare minimum so you can start your journey in the Wuling without missing much. My name is Ryusuke. I'm gonna be doing digestible guide and random Arknight Enfield content, so be sure to like and subscribe. So there are two major reasons on why you want to build the factory. Like one is to build things out of necessity, mainly bomb, consumable, and the material to craft the gear. But you don't want to worry about getting the crystal component yet, cause you're gonna get better component in the future, and I mean in Wuling, the Sirenite component, which I'm not gonna cover today. And on top of that, not only you could grind from the mob, Death also give you for free in the mail. So you could make about 2 or 3 sets of the purple gear and just stick with that. And the other purpose is to build some necessity for grinding, like crafting the explosive, cause you do need it for the exploration, and it also make mining so much easier, cause you can just use it on the mine. The real problem lie with this one, the Valet stock build, and if you swap to Wuling, it's the Wuling stock build. There are a couple ways to earn it, but the main way to earn it is from the factory. If we click into this outpost management, I'm gonna be able to sell stuff to these outposts. And with all kinds of merchandise and good to trade, battery and the capsule are the only things that worth selling. You don't really want to sell the part, Origocrust, and various kinds of bottle, because the price is simply not worth it. Like the part only costs 1, while this can cost 10. The bug capsule also costs 10. Battery also has pretty good price. Even the lower level battery also costs 16. So the goal here is pretty simple. Build as much battery and the bug capsule as much as possible, so we could afford this thing for the endgame grind. Valet engraving permit. I'm not gonna get into the details of this. What we're looking at is the ultimate purpose of building the factory for the endgame content. Even though there are materials, those are essentially important to build various kind of stuff for the factory, like the Origocrust, all kinds of component and part, but you don't want these things in the production forever. I would say about 2,000 for each of these things, maybe about 500 of coal, but if you accidentally produce more than that, it's also fine. But 2,000 to 3,000 is all you need. So now let's get started with factory. My number 1 tip is to get into the top wheels with cap locks. This has to be the most important tip you learn today, cause managing with top wheels feels so much different than managing with the first person wheels. It just makes things so much faster and easier. So you wanna 100% do that. And there's this function called the bulk action. Basically you press X and then you can drag it like how you use the computer normally. If you press M, it's gonna be able to move, and you could rotate the facility pressing R. I could rotate like this and left click to confirm. If you drag it with right click, it's gonna cancel. You could do Ctrl C to copy it. You could press F to delete everything. So that's the number 1 general tips. So now we're gonna talk about the basic, like the Origocrust and the Amethyst part. The other really important tip that I wish I know from the beginning is I can move the core infrastructure by clicking on it and click move here, and you can move it to wherever you want. If you don't have any plan in your mind, generally I would recommend you to have the receiver part at the edge of the map, cause this gonna make managing the factory so much easier. So we could place it here. So now let's get started with the Origocrust. You wanna click on this part and pick the originium ore and press E, and you could drag a convection belt out. Then it's gonna start dispersing the products. And now we click into the core and click on the construction, and you're gonna be able to build the refining unit with 5 originium ore. You could mine it from somewhere beside, get the amounts that you want, and now we got the refining unit. Now you click on the production, refining unit, and now the originium will be transferred into this working station. And as you can see, there's this unplugged icon up here. So we want to power it up. You go to construction and looking for the power, which is this icon, and you produce the electric pylon. Then construct, then you're gonna get the electric pylon. And what this gonna do is that it's gonna supply the energy to the working station. And as you can see, with the area of effect, even if I touch the corner of the working station, it will still be effective. So now I place it here, and right now it starts working and producing the Origocrust. You can see there's 7 entrances for you to supply the stuff into it. And what am I gonna do is build another conveyor belt with the E, and I could drag it to here, and the material will be start sending into the factory. And generally, if it takes more than 6 or 7 blocks to get back into the core, you should be using the protocol stash to collect the material. You could do it by pressing construct again, looking for the logistic and protocol stash. And now you can build it with the Origocrust that you just produced. Press construct, we get back, and we can put it right beside the working station. So the conveyor belt doesn't have to travel that long to get back to the storage. And now it's moving into here. And as you can see, it's gonna bring back the material to the storage for every 8 seconds. So let me delete this part with bulk action. I press X, drag it, then press F to stash all of them. The materials on the line will be automatically sent back to the storage. And I can also stash things like one by one here. Yeah, so now we have some space for the other part. Now we're gonna do the amethyst part. Again, put on the output port. We select amethyst. The tutorial gonna teach you how to mine this, so don't worry about that. Now select the output port. Again, press E and drag out, and the amethyst ore will be sending out. Press refining unit and rotate it, and now it got sent into this. Press to the core again, construct, and look for the fitting unit. It's gonna be able to produce the part for you to build various kind of stuff in the factory. And now construct the fitting unit. Get out, and I can just select the fitting unit. I can actually rotate it to the direction that I want by pressing R. And let's say I want to place it here. Move the conveyor belt to this location, and boom, the part is produced. And we could send it back by drag it back to the core. And that's pretty much everything you need to build pretty much everything in the game. And after you set this up, you want to go on, continue the main quest and the story, cause that's the fastest thing you could do to progress the factory and enjoy the main story without coming back. And when you are going through the quest, you want to pay attention to this thing. The protocol data logger is basically gonna be the balloon man. And what it does is, it's gonna unlock new kinds of machines for the working station, and just pick whatever that they are recommending you. And when you are going through the story, there is this 3 plant that is essential for the game. Like one is bug flower, but you're gonna be able to get it pretty much everywhere because it's the material for the healing. It works as a material for the bug capsule, which is one of the best stuff to trade with the outpost along with the battery. But if you got a lot of bug flower along the way, you can go to crafting, go to bug flower powder, and craft it manually. And it will help you out along the mission by getting into the character and pick the tactical consumable and pick the bug flower powder. So it's gonna heal during the combat. but I'm using the bug capsule, which is a better version of it. I will get into it later. The other crucial plant is the acetine, is the material for the bomb, and you're gonna need a lot of it to solve the puzzle and grind for the pools. And I got 14,000 here, but 1 or 2,000 should be enough for you to use until the end of service. The location of the plant is pretty tricky, but while you're progressing through the story, you're gonna get to an area called the Valley Pass, and it's gonna be right here when you're progressing toward the story. And this is the position of the map. And you don't want to worry about the Sandleaf for now, cause it's only available at the final part of the story in the Valley 4. And it's gonna be in this location, and the Sandleaf gonna be right here. When you're progressing toward the last part of the story, it is a crucial plant for the optimal factory, but we are not gonna worry about it now. Now you get the bug flower and the acetine. Now I want you to pay an extra attention on when you get the seed picking unit and the planting unit, cause once this thing is ready, we can begin to do the first phase of the factory mode. And as soon as you get these machine and the plant, you get back to the factory, get into the top wheels, and you can just kind of delete everything, because it doesn't matter. You got probably enough for the rest of your life, and it's not even hard to make it again when you need it. And the goal here is to create the bug capsule C, the lowest levels of the bug capsule, but it works 10 times more than the Origocrust and the Amethyst Part. So not only that, it's gonna be really good to help you out during the story. It's a good merchandise to help you levels up the outpost, which is what you are seeing here. You could unlock it by completing all the urgent quests, but now we're gonna get the carbon first. And if we look at the recipe, you can do it with the bug flower here, with the refining unit. So let's craft 20 of them, cause that's all you need for now. You can craft more of those later, but 1,000 or 2 should be more than enough. So we're gonna set up the electric pylon first, go to the refining unit, place it, and you don't have to worry about the conveyor belt. Now click on it again and put the bug flower into it. And now you can go grab some water, and you're gonna get enough carbon within a minute. And now we got enough carbon. You could drag it to the backpack and to the depot. It doesn't really matter. Now we can go back, bulk action, delete all of them, and you find a space that is further away from the HQ. And now you want to do exactly what I'm doing. Now we go with the seed picking here first. Planting unit, you rotate it. Take another plant unit, you place it here. Press E for the conveyor belt, connecting here, and go back to seed here. And get another conveyor belt to this one, and this one out to the protocol stash. Click on the seed picking unit and put in the bug flower. And what this gonna do is it's gonna be able to create an infinite amounts of the bug flower. So let me copy it. I can also do this with the acetine that I just take, and it's gonna produce infinite amounts of acetine. Get the conveyor belt out from both sides, follow with shredding unit, and now we connect to the protocol stash, and we add another pylon here, so we can send it back to the storage with the protocol stash. And make sure that you have like 3 conveyor belt when you shred anything, because if we take a look at the production, it's gonna produce 2 powder per bug flower. If you only have 1 conveyor belt, it's gonna clog. And generally you don't wanna send another material into the other shredder like this, cause one shredding unit could only handle 1 conveyor belt, and it's not gonna do anything other than just clogging the production. And to produce an explosive, you wanna go to construction and go to the packaging unit. 1 is more than enough. Now you put the gearing unit over here, get the electric sub, get the conveyor belt back here, go to the output port, select the acetine powder that we just produced, Put it in here. And this one, go for the amethyst part. And if you want to rush the production, you add another amethyst part here. Because the recipe is like 5 amethyst part to 1 powder. So there's no way that the amethyst part gonna be able to catch up with the amounts of powder. And I would suggest that you wanna produce about 2 or 3,000 of them, so you can use it until the end of service. I mean, just leave it overnight. You're gonna have enough explosive by that time. And once you get enough explosive, just delete it. You don't really want it anymore. Bulk action, and also delete it because you will never want to use it again. And now let's get to producing the bulk capsule. You click into core, press construct, look for the filling unit here, and make 1 or 2 of them. Now we put the filling unit here. And here is the trickier part on making the bulk capsule. It needs 2 amethyst fiber to make a bottle. What that means is it needs 2 production line of the amethyst to produce 1 bottle. You can also do it with 1 production line, but the production speed gonna slow down by 50%. And this is the thing you want to pay attention to when you're building any other things in the future. But anyway, let me show you guys. And you want to create this amethyst bottle. You want to have 2 amethyst output to handle 1 bug flower powder here. Yeah, I should actually move it a bit here. Now we go with 2 refining unit. And you go back here to look for the molding unit, because this is how you make the bottle, and put it here. And you can just line it here. And basically you want to have 2 refining unit for 1 molding unit, because this is like how recipe works. Like you can see it's 2 to 1. So it needs 2 production line to maximize the speed. And here we got the bug flower powder. You put it here, and molding unit connect to the filling unit here, and let it travel back to the base. And now we got the capsule going here. And yeah, don't forget that you could also use it for yourself as a healing items, or you can trade it to the outpost, which you can do it by pressing ESC, go to region development, outpost management, come to here, switch good into the bug capsule, and now you can trade it to levels up the outpost prosperity here. And you're gonna get the valet stock bill here, earning things for the endgame content. But right now you are mainly using it to buy the standard pools. But I've already got all of them, so I'm just showing you guys for the demonstration. And you can also buy the cultural good as a gift to your operator. Yep, let's give it to Levitane. And you go back to do your story. And on the way, you might be seeing some blue mineral like this. And you may want to put on the electric mining Mark II on it. They actually give you this mining rig for free. The ordinary mining rig wouldn't work. And if you need more of it, you want to craft the Ferrium part. And yeah, don't forget to run the cable with the relay tower and place the electric pylon beside the mining rig so that your mining rig would work. I think even like with hundreds of them wouldn't be enough, and maybe some electric pylon. And you want to run the cable from the core. I think a lot of us has already learned from the tutorial. But what you might not know is that you could pre-run the cable first. As you can see, I don't build any tower here. I just drag my cable to this location and I will just build it here. I don't pre-build it, and connect. So you don't get yourself into one of these meme situations where your cable isn't long enough. And just for your info, you can actually run the cable from one map to another. Like I could connect the cable from this map to the other map. I just link the cable to up there. And I also connect my cable from up here to here. So yeah. And then all the way to the terminal. Yeah, like this one is a bit weird. I just build it right in the terminal, and it still worked just fine. And I connect it all the way here and connect it to the mining area. And yeah, be sure to build the electric pylon for the mining machine, connect it with the relay tower. And to be able to craft this, you wanna get yourself a ferrium part. But how do you get it when you can't mine it? Yeah, you can just throw the bomb that we just made a while ago. And yep, you can also melt it down and use these ferrium ore to create the part. And just like how you made the amethyst part, you want to change one of the output port into a ferrium ore, lining it up into refining unit and into the fitting unit. And that's it. Except I forget the power. It's really easy. And now you get the ferrium ore. You can just change this directly into the ferrium ore, and it's gonna produce the better version of the bug capsule. But you're gonna take every amethyst out, or else it's gonna clog inside, like the amethyst bottle and the amethyst fiber. You're gonna take it all out. So yeah, now it's began to produce the bug capsule B. And again, about 1,000 or 2,000 of ferrium part is sufficient. And once you get enough of them, just delete it. And if you find yourself not having enough energy, which you can see it up here, instead of building half-assed battery like this one and this one, and in my opinion, they also takes away way too much production line to craft something that doesn't really produce a loss of value, you can actually change one of the output port into the originium ore and fill it with the thermal bank. You build 3 of these and go to logistic and change the splitter and make sure that the splitter is heading toward the right direction, which is this way in this case. So I'm gonna put it here, and the originium ore gonna be distributed between these 3 thermal bank, and it's gonna provide 150 energy, so it's actually not that bad, while taking only 1 production line. To give you an idea, these 2 battery need at least 2 production line, and to maximize the production speed, this one needs 3 and this one needs 5. It's pretty insane. And you know what? This is all you need in the Valet 4. You should prioritize finishing the story in the Wuling, or even building the factory in the Wuling, because that's where the gold gear is available. Any extra effort above this point is for the endgame content, aka the Ascent grind. You're gonna need this ticket for the Ascent. And Wuling also has it. And different characters need different kinds of Ascent, so it really depends which character you wanna levels up. And if you are ready for the min-max phase, just keep listening. There are 3 things that you wanna get yourself ready when you're planning for the min-max phase. If you don't have the Sandleaf, then forget about it, cause you're definitely not there yet. It is everywhere on the last map of the Valet 4. You couldn't produce the highest levels of bug capsule and the highest level battery. You cannot produce the purple bug capsule and the purple battery without Sandleaf. And the second thing you wanna do is to expand the factory, and you wanna max everything. And the third thing is, you wanna have every single mining area working. Man, how do I miss this one? And I mean every single one. And this map gonna be harder because you wanna connect the cable from other map. And if you're not mining in every single mining site, then you're not gonna be able to utilize the most optimized blueprint, because your production from mining just simply couldn't catch up with it. And maybe the amethyst as the exception, because you don't really need all of it. But to progress to that point, it's gonna take a while. And I got my own blueprint on the purple battery, and it's gonna be good enough for you to max out all the factory things. So I got 12 battery per minute, but it's actually 6 per minute for 1 blueprint. And you also need this Sandleaf facility. Just build it in anywhere you want. And I'm gonna leave the blueprint in the comment or maybe the description. And you're gonna be able to use it at the depot bus level 2. So the blueprint is not too demanding. And you can move on to the most optimal blueprint. when you get all the Ferrium mine and max out everything. But don't forget to max out the outpost as well. And don't worry about making the highest levels of the bug capsule. Battery should be enough to help you to max out everything. I'm gonna use KyoStinV blueprint. I'll put it in the comment or description. Anyway, if you make it to this point, don't forget to like and sub, and see ya guys.